Just kick this off. Okay, hey, welcome. I'm Gary DeHart, publisher of Insightful Accountant, and today I have Esther Friedberg Karp, who is the queen of multi-currency and desktop, so I'm told. I've just been through, I have good sources telling me that. But, you know, I think many of you know Esther. If you don't, you certainly should know her. Kind, gracious person, and she writes for us on occasion and has taken some of our awards home with her. Although I don't see it in the background. Where's your awards?
Oh my goodness, they're behind here. There they are.
Oh, see how important they are?
They are. I'm packing to go on a trip and I have an extra computer there. I'm sorry.
That is quite all right. Actually, I have never even thought about that. We've had many conversations like this, so I haven't never even thought about where your awards are. Just having fun on a Friday. So, all right. So, but what we're here to talk about is, like I said, you are the queen of multi-currency and desktop, and apparently you have written a book.
I have indeed. Let me tell you about it.
Talk to me. Well,
all right.
First, before you go any further, I am the last person in the world that knows anything about multi-currency. So I'm going to be doing a lot of listening, not a lot of talking. And so, so that's why as you watch this, you're going to see Esther doing all the talking and me just sitting here nodding my head, because this is a subject I bring nothing to the table on. So talk to us. Tell us about the book. Why'd you write it? What am I going to learn if I buy it? Which I probably won't buy it just because it's not multi-currency. I might buy it just because we do want to get you to be an Amazon top seller.
A top seller on Amazon. So yes, it is available on Amazon, and it will be soon available on my website. So
I've been on Insightful Accountant. It's going to be on there as soon as I get the ads made.
There we go. Okay, fantastic. So I've been working with multi-currency clients ever since QuickBooks Canada introduced that feature in 2001, and the US introduced it a few years later. And this book is aimed at both accounting professionals and their clients, because over the years, I've seen literally thousands of users mess up QuickBooks company files when they have sales or purchases or account balances that are in foreign currencies. And they generally fall into one of three main types of scenarios in which they get into trouble. One scenario is that users don't track multi-currency when they should. And they use these crazy workarounds to track foreign currencies that just don't work. So they might label an account as being in, say, euros or yen or pesos. But as far as QuickBooks is concerned, the transactions are in the same currency as the rest of the books, likely dollars. And oftentimes that creates an overly long chart of accounts as well, since they create, let's say, each sales account for every currency. So you have sales in euros, sales in yen, sales in pesos, sales in dollars. And they might do the same thing for each expense account. So you have a really long chart of accounts. And any reports showing the transactions and balances in these foreign accounts, I hate doing that, but I have to be exported to Excel. And then major manipulations have to be done to that spreadsheet in order to get any semblance of reality in those numbers. So that becomes what, like they say, Excel hell. And these Excel hell tasks have to be repeated each and every time a report is run, because report periods change and exchange rates change. So imagine doing that every time instead of having the real numbers in real time at the press of a button, the way QuickBooks was designed to provide. So that being the case, oftentimes strategic pricing or marketing decisions are delayed until well after year end, by which time the company can be out of business, as they didn't react quickly enough because they didn't have the information they needed in real time. And so not dealing properly with foreign currencies in a timely fashion can literally mean the difference between black ink and red ink. So that's one scenario. Another scenario is a client turning on multi-currency, but they don't understand how it works or what they're supposed to do with it. So the numbers in the reports are wrong, but they've been lulled into this false sense of security because they know they've turned on multi-currency. And in my opinion, that's just as bad as or even worse than the first scenario. Or maybe a client is struggling to provide their foreign customers with a price list with prices in that foreign currency. And they don't know how to make that happen, and they do all kinds of manual manipulations, and that's also prone to errors. And then the third main scenario is the case where someone, say an unscrupulous employee with access to QuickBooks, hides fraudulent actions or transactions in the exchange gain or loss account. And no one looks there because they don't understand what should be there in the first place. So each and every time I overhaul a client's books and train them how to use multi-currency properly, I hear, you should write a book about this. There's no training like this anywhere else, and I'm so glad I found you. And yes, that is lovely to hear. It is. But there's only so much me to go around, and frankly, I'm pooped. I'm exhausted. I had written this out so many times. I figured that the brain dump was there, but I'd better get it out to the public in case I get hit by a bus or something.
Or go to the beach and don't come back, right?
Or could, yes. So why not turn it into a book? So, but instead of hiring me, I would much prefer that people buy the book and have it as a standard operating procedure manual for multi-currency in their business going forward, in case they sell the company or have employee turnover. And as I said, this book is for accounting professionals and their clients. Accounting professionals can now take on international clients, which in my experience are generally higher value engagements and increase their earnings. And the end user clients can use this as guidelines to get their books into proper shape and keep their books in shape so that they can stay in business and they don't have to hire me, because I'll be on the beach somewhere, to overhaul the books and do the training. So that's kind of why I did it.
And going back to who's it for, well, actually, even before that, and I'm going to have to show my ignorance once again. So title of the book is Multicurrency in QuickBooks Desktop, the most in-depth QuickBooks multi-currency training available. Here's my ignorance. Is multi-currency not available in online?
It is available online, and that's going to be my next project. Okay. I will be doing that. The reason I did desktop first was for a number of reasons. Number one, desktop is a stable product. And I'm not trying to say that QuickBooks Online is unstable, but not much is going to change in desktop going forward, at least as far as multi-currency is concerned. And I foresee some changes happening in QuickBooks Online. That's just my opinion. Yeah. So that's one reason. Another reason is that enterprise clients, I have a lot of enterprise clients, and they're not going to move to QuickBooks Online anytime soon. And they're the ones that are doing international trade and that kind of stuff. And they have multi-currency going on. So that's why I did that. Absolutely, my next project is the similar book, but for online.
Okay. So if let's say somebody watches this and they're like, well, Esther said there's good money in multi-currency clients.
Yep.
And Esther's written the books, and now I know how to do it. How do they get into that? I mean, how do I find clients that are multi-currency, or should I just like let you handle it and then stay out of it altogether?
No, I'd rather not handle it. As I said, I'm exhausted. I like doing it, but I just can't handle all the business. And there's plenty of business out there. And as more and more people are doing all this, worldwide trade, where it's really easy to do e-commerce and what have you, things are going to cross borders. They just are. And so I think that naturally, organically, more and more international clients are going to come your way. You're not going to have to turn them away. I'll tell you, a lot of my clients that I've gotten so far have been from my ProAdvisor friends in the US because they just haven't had occasion to deal with it. But if they have the training available to them, they don't have to turn away the work. And it's really very lucrative work.
Okay. Any certifications that you would recommend people have before they try to get into this segment of the business?
No, I will say that they should have a very good understanding of QuickBooks Desktop. This is not for newbies, and they should understand the regular, the normal everyday functions in QuickBooks. They should definitely do that. there had been in QuickBooks online, there had been in the advanced certification training, there had been a multi-currency module, which I'd written actually, but they took that out because they're going in a different direction for the certification. But this is just not going away. People are going to need it more and more. Okay,
well, great. Anything you can think of that you haven't mentioned that you wanted to mention just before we wrap up?
I can't think of anything. I wish, gee, I'm not prepared for that question. No, I will say this, that, if somebody wants to reach out and talk to me about it, I'm happy to, I'm happy to talk to them about it. And perhaps if they, if they want to get on a list somewhere of people I would recommend for handling multi-currency clients, once they've shown that they understand the material, I'd be happy to make referrals.
Okay. Is there actually, I'll go back one other, because you did mention the module from Intuit that you wrote. So from your understanding, I mean, is this really the only resource? Obviously, it's the best training available, but are there any other resources that you would point people to, just because it never hurts to have a broad knowledge, right?
Well, you know what, you make a good point, Gary, and something else happened years ago. There used to be QuickBooks Desktop Advanced certification in the US. And that was actually, multi-currency was one of the modules in that one as well. But that's not there anymore either. I will say this, and I don't want to point fingers, but those people that say, oh, you should write a book, I'm so glad I found you, they're the ones that are telling me that they cannot get anything close to this from tech support. They're just not. So this really, and this covers not just everyday stuff like how to run reports and how to do a foreign currency price list, but it also gets into troubleshooting, because you can get into trouble if you don't know what you're doing, and you can cause some crazy things to happen with reports. But I show you how to modify the reports to get rid of the crazy stuff.
Gotcha. Okay, and we'll add the Amazon link to the end of the video, but again, the name of the book is Multicurrency. I have to look over here because it's written over here. Multicurrency. A
really long name, yeah.
Yeah, almost like insightfulaccountant.com. It's like, okay.
Or Esther Friedberg Karp, yeah.
Yeah, right. So Multicurrency and QuickBooks Desktop, the most in-depth QuickBooks multi-currency training available. And it is available on Amazon. It's just in Kindle format, right?
Correct. It's EPUB,
okay.
Yeah.
And the whopping, people are going to go broke buying your book. It's $25.
I know.
I mean, clearly this is like, this is your plan for retirement. You're charging so much for the book.
That's right.
Yeah. So no, and you'll see it. We're going to promote it on Insightful Accountant, and we're not making money on this. We're promoting it because Esther is a great person, does a lot of writing for us, and I mean, really, anybody you talk to who knows Esther, you're way up there on the list. And I'll say too, if anybody else has a book that you've written that serves our space, and I'd be happy to have you on and have you talk about it and give some promotions out into the space as well. Because anything we can do to help educate, educate the peers and educate the space, I think is part of what we should be doing as Insightful Accountant. So. Esther, thank you. I know are you going to the beach today?
No, we're leaving next week, but I still have to pack, which for me is a 4-letter word. I'm terrible. It's going to take me a week to pack.
But don't tell anybody, but it actually is a 4-letter word. So on that, we will end. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye, Gary. Bye.